What's happening, Andy here? I'm joined today by my good friend Mike Stramaglio of Stramaglio Consulting. How are you today, Mike?
I am doing absolutely fantastic, brother. We're
Yeah,
brothers.
brother. I am very happy to see. I haven't seen you in a little bit. Last time, actually, I don't know if it was last time, but recently we were both wearing these as we crossed the country raising our money for the Jillian Fund, and got my Jillian hat on, sponsored by Great America. Always willing to jump in. You've been busy. I've been seeing you all over the place. Most recently, you were in Florida. What were you doing down there?
Yeah, actually, I got a fantastic invitation from the CDA group via Chris, Taylor from Fishers, and it was a great meeting. Andy, CDA always puts on a good meeting, but I think Chris really outdid himself. This is his last meeting as president of CDA, and great group of people. You had all of the OEMs there for a panel hosted by or emceed by Frank Canada.
Yeah, I saw that. Everyone was on that. That was a big panel. There was it Sharp, Konica, Sam, I saw Sam, I think Marusik was on that. Some people from HP.
Yeah.
Who else? It was a good one.
Xerox,
Yeah,
Enrico.
yeah.
Yeah,
Big panel.
and that was actually a very interesting panel because Frank hosted it, so he had a lot of pre questions that he basically threw out there, and then, of course they focused mostly on supply chain and the future. But it was an excellent panel, and again, my hats off to Chris. It was a great meeting.
Yeah, that was just one part of it, right? It was down at Don Cesar down in St. Pete's Beach. We were just chatting before we started recording that. I got married on that beach a few years back, right down the street. So last time I was down there, we stayed at the Don. It's a great facility. Very worthy of a high-end meeting like that. I can only imagine it was just perfect setting. Great beach.
Yeah, it was, and the agenda was great. They had the actual. His name is Aaron. I forget his last name. Forgive me, but the 127-hour guy who severed his hand to get out of the canyon. So he was their inspirational speaker, and wow,
Yeah.
wow, yeah, wow. The whole room was in tears. It was
Oh, I
just,
bet. I
yeah,
bet. That's some heavy stuff right there.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
some heavy stuff. By the way, nice. I see some hats behind you. I see a couple of good ones stacked up over your other shoulder, actually. Yeah, yeah. Oh, and there's the Jillian one. You got three of them,
Yeah.
and I've got that Lone Star one as well sitting on my shelf right over here. So, yeah,
Yeah.
you're keeping up to date. You got the latest in hat wear. Good to see. Good to see. Um, we really wanted to just catch up with you and talk about we're closing in on your next ECS. You had a really good one this past year. We could go on and talk about how much fun it was, just how many great people were there. It's always been a good show, but it was nice to see that one came back, and we hadn't done it for a while. So January this year, right?
Yep, January 15th through the 18th in beautiful Scottsdale at the Hotel Valley Ho.
The Valley Ho is just perfect for this event. It's not big, right? It's just a beautiful old school retro. It's a cool old hotel. I love it. It's perfect for that event. Unless you get too big, and you're starting to get close to that, aren't you? So how many people this year are you thinking?
Well, yeah, we're capping it at 300, and
Wow.
we're pretty close to that number right now. So for anyone who's listening, I hope you reach out real quick and get registered. But yes, Valley Ho is perfect. Has the Rat Packy feel, which
It does have the Rat Packy feel. You expect Sinatra or Dean Martin to come walking around the corner at any second. So we're gonna have 300 people there this year.
Yes.
Last year you had close to, I think it was 150 or maybe a little bit more. So who's at this event? You've got dealers, you've got OEMs, you've got partner companies like your ACDIs and paper cuts, whatnot. Who else is coming?
Yeah, dealers for sure, mega dealers, private equity people. We have developers.
My friends in Tampa are coming, I hear.
Yeah, the Doyles are coming with Paul Natel. So we'll have Dan Sr. and Jr. And Paul Natel, who is their president, I guess, COO. So I'm thrilled about that. We have all the big ones. You have Marco and of course, some of the others, but then you have the
POA,
small.
I think Doug's coming. So are we going to have our own runway, our own private runway for all these jets? How's that work? Do they just go to the Phoenix, Arizona airport?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, we have the busiest private airstrip.
These guys are all coming in private. That's the best part. I mean, when you throw a party, these guys come in from all over and they're doing it all in their own jets. So, for an industry that's supposedly struggling so much, they haven't given up the transportation perks quite yet. It seems to be healthy enough to support that. So we've got some big name dealers. We've got some regular size dealers on, even some smaller dealers. So you don't have to be a massive dealer to come to this. So what do they take away? Tell me about the agenda this year. We've had some really cool, sort of all over the place in the past. We had that fan control football in the past, just business sort of presentation. So you've had IBM in the past, Microsoft, so things that did relate, things that didn't, but just sort of, just things that were really interesting, I think, and always looking to push the boundaries and find new areas that, maybe think outside the box conversations, can start from. So what are we looking at this year?
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up. You and I have worked really on the ECS thing for years, and you've been a great supporter of it for years, and we're grateful for that. But this year, or I should say in 23, it's going to be a wonderful combination, really, of motivational speakers, technology speakers, companies, developers. It's really across the board. We're focused on things like digital twin technology or conversational AI. So at a high level, we get strategic input from people like IBM or Intel, et cetera. And then more tactical, if you will, like our friends at ACDI, who are, obviously, we all know what they do with paper. But when they launched their EV program last January, we're going to see more of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about the things that strategically are critically important for the next 5 years, 10 years, whether it be SaaS or a lot of information on healthcare and how the senses and all the applications of new technology help there. And then, of course, we have to focus and deliver with actionable items for the dealers. So here's the big move. Here's what's happening. And by the way, here are the companies that can drop down and deliver products and services for you that you can improve your profitability and your growth. And then the other day when we were down at CDA, I brought up the subject that personally I find in this particular time and history of the channel, let's stop saying dealer. It does a disservice to the dealer. Let's call them something like, workforce services providers, things that broaden, their capability of being able to deliver. Yeah. So that's going to be a tip of the spear kind of comment, and we're going to drive things behind that for everybody.
Well, there's just a ton there, right? First, you're meeting with your peers. You're probably going to see some people that maybe you don't see, at your association events or even your vendor events. Just some dealers that you've heard about, or good conversations to have, and maybe make a connection down the road for an acquisition, or you just learn a little bit, right? Some great motivational speakers you've had in the past. I know you're going to have a really good one coming up. I just had breakfast with him. So long ball champion Maurice Allen will be making the trip. I hung out with him down in Florida with High Tech and Mars. We were lucky enough to have him stop by for breakfast with us. So he's very excited to do that. He's the one who hit the ball over Niagara Falls. He's the only one who hit the ball over Niagara Falls. And he's just so animated. He's a character hero. From your company, got to meet him down at the Puttin' in the Pink charitable event that we participated in September. It was a big Rico high tech event. Actually, a ton of companies. The ESP was involved, so a lot of companies were involved in that as well. So he's going to be cool. I think he's going to be good. Other speakers, you've been kind of rolling them out. I saw Tony Pater was a special guest speaker. Haven't seen him in years, so we're going to be seeing some characters out of the past, right? And so you've got some big sponsorships already. Some companies have stepped up. The one that stands out the most, I think, because they were first, is Great America. I guess is carrying the torch. No surprise there, right? They're always one of the first to jump in on whether it's a Jillian fundraiser or ECS or just about anything. Those guys are about as involved as anyone. Who else has stepped up? Who else is going to be driving the show this year?
Well, besides the ones you just mentioned, we have Mike Reardon, who is, a class act and just a tremendous influence in the channel. Then we have John Schweitzer from ConnectWise, who's going to be awesome. You mentioned Maurice. I can't say enough about him. So when everybody comes to ECS, I want everyone who's looking and listening. He's not only going to be golfing, he's going to be speaking, and he speaks well. He's a great story, so I don't want to forget about him. And then we have Konica Minolta has a presentation. Again, I think pretty much everybody. DLL is a sponsor, Great America is a sponsor, ConnectWise, a very long list of really very supportive companies. So it's going to be great from the stage. But I think the other thing too, I put a big exclamation point on this, and you said it. This is not a trade show, right? So this is the Executive Connection Summit. It's about connecting. It's about connecting technology, people to people, companies to companies, and basically help people in 23 to grow. So I'm excited about it, and I was happy to hear when I was down at CDA how many people raised their hands when they said, "Yeah, we're going to be there." So we're on the right track.
I think next year you look at some outside sponsors. Maybe I think Grey Goose might be a good one.
Yeah.
I think Camus might be a good one. I think I could come up with a short list of some sponsors. We went through. We had a good time last year. We'll just put it that way. And I think that's part of it. Everybody kind of stays out a little bit too late. Everybody schmoozes a little more than they normally do, and everybody just has a really great time, right? And you've got friends you haven't seen in a while, and it's just a fun setting, right? It's it's a good facility. It's not too big. You're just 2 seconds away from whatever room you're in. It's not like these big when we go to Vegas for these shows, or even some of the shows out west, wherever they are. This is a nice, manageable hotel. Everything's right there. It's and then even the events, typically we go to, what is it called, the house down the street. There's always a night at the house where we have a little food and some cocktails, and it's outside. It's just everything's right there. It's just a really good couple of days. I'm glad we're doing it again. I'm going to make my reservations for the hotels this afternoon. I think those got sold out last year. So anyone watching this, right, make sure you make your reservations sooner rather than later.
Yeah, exactly. And please, because well, number one, the early bird discount ends in October, so that's very important. And the room, the rooms themselves, registration block, legitimately we're pushing on the 250 right now, and we still have plenty of time to go. So
yeah, I'm gonna make mine as soon as we get off this call. I think I'm gonna get that locked in. And Jake's coming this year. I should have brought him last year. I didn't bring him this year. Our marketing coordinator and my son, generation 3 of the Slawetsky crew here. He's still doing it. He's still killing it for me and freeing me up to do interviews like this. So it's been great for us. And I think that was my only regret last year, is that he should have gone to that event, because that was, it was, first of all, it was just fun. It was just fun, right? It was seeing all these people in one place. It was, the presentations were all really, really good, worthwhile. And just, it was just it was over in a heartbeat. The whole event was just like, you blinked and it was done. We're going to come in a little early this year. I think a lot of people are planning to come in a little early, especially from my part of the world. It's going to be freezing up here in January. So we're going to come in, play a little golf, maybe stay a little late, play a little golf, right? It's just, how can you beat it? How can you beat it?
Well, you really, it's a fantastic location, fantastic agenda. And more importantly, it's the industry meeting. When people ask me, this is not my meeting, right? This is your meeting. It's really the industry meeting. And the one thing we really focused on this year that I'm really proud of is really diversifying the presenters, where they come from, what they do, whether they're sales or marketing or financial. Martin Golubich, from Great America, he's got a segment. So we're bringing younger people. So I'm glad Jake is there, because then we have Stephanie, Keating, or we have Lindsay Usherwood, Carson Stone. So we're going to have a very nice,
This next generation.
It's next generation.
I love it.
So tell Jake he better be ready, because
He's gonna be ready. He's I think he's excited for it. So it's just such a really good few days, and then tag on a little golf, a little just relaxation, and before and after. And I'd actually like to stay a little longer if I could, but I think I would probably get killed when I came home. So I got to get back to the ice, to the Arctic, right? So anything else? This has been great. I'm glad we caught up. Anything you want to, any last shout outs or any message you want to give everybody before we tie this up, wind this down?
Well, thank you. I appreciate the interview. It's always an honor. And I think I would just say to people, hey, we're rolling into November. Hard as that is to believe, October pretty much done, November, December, January. So I wish everybody a great end of the year and a healthy, safe, productive, high energy end of the year. And I look forward to seeing everybody in January at ECS. So do it quick, sign up quick.
We will, I will get some links from you and I'll put them in the information below the video. You can contact Mike directly, or you can just use the link that we provide, and you'll be able to get your sign up information there. Don't sleep on it, because it's going to sell out. Last year did sell out. We had to limit it, and some people couldn't come. So it was a bummer. And then even some of the ones that came, they couldn't stay at the hotel, which, I get, some people don't always like to stay at the hotel, but that's a good one to stay at the hotel. You don't want to go home at the end of the night. You don't want to have to get up early. The one thing I do remember from last year, as we wrap up, I remember one of the mornings we started, it was still dark out. Like, we don't waste time. I mean, it's a good time, it's fun, but this was a meeting. Like, we were up and going at 7 a.m. There was breakfast being served, a light little breakfast, and we were moving into the opening keynote, and it was still dark out. So you don't mess around at this thing. You've only got everyone there for a couple of days, and you make sure that you get the most out of those couple of days. I'll give you that.
Well, that's true. And like you said, we need Grey Goose, we need Cohiba, Camus.
Yes.
It's legendary now.
Yes. And the cigar. Yeah. So at that house, there was the cigar night. Mars, I believe, sponsored that one. Raj graciously sponsored the cigars. So we all had plenty of cigars, and then there were leftover cigars that we got to enjoy on the Jillian ride this past year.
We took them cross country.
So it really worked out for everybody. But this was great, Mike. Always awesome catching up with you. Hopefully I see you before ECS. I don't know where that would be, but you never know. And if not, then I'll see you there.
You got it. And I appreciate it, Andy. Thank you very much.
Always great to see you. Take care, buddy.
You too.